Lex Fridman hosts the biggest agent of Kremlin and gets completely sunned, while this agent of Kremlin, Zela, as we like to say in Ukraine, Zelensky, sends my brothers and sisters, mainly my brothers, on another SU something mission that I cannot say on YouTube. Sends my brothers into another meat grinder, and Lex Fridman sits there and gets sunned. Yo, let's talk about it. You gotta excuse me, man. I'm mad, emotional right now. I'm angry, and I have a reason to be. This is good for thought, man. Let's roll.
Good for thought.
What up, man? Look, no intros. I'm extremely, you know what I'm saying, emotional right now. I'm extremely angry right now, right? So Lex Fridman, after Zela, as we like to call him in Ukraine, Zelensky, this you know what I'm saying, this excuse, man, I gotta say it, this freaking cokehead, right, doesn't want to go talk to Tucker Carlson because he knows Tucker's gonna ask him tough questions. He doesn't want to go to Joe Rogan, even though, you know what I'm saying, Joe Rogan is so separated from everything, and he's very, you know, politicized in his own way. But at least Joe would still ask him the tough questions, man. So he comes to the softest possible dude, right, with no street credit, you know what I mean, Lex Fridman. And Lex Fridman gets sunned. I'm gonna say a super quick disclaimer, right? I didn't watch the podcast, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why I didn't watch the podcast, and I want to prove a point in this video that without me even watching this shit show, right, that I know exactly what Lex did not ask Zelensky and what he should have asked Zelensky. Do you know how I know how? I put on the podcast when it popped up in my feed, and I watch about 5 minutes of it, right? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh man, this is exactly what we thought it was gonna be. This is just, you know, another Zelensky's rant about, instead of talking about Ukraine, instead of talking about the real issues, he's talking about what? He's talking about his favorite subject, Russia. He looks like he's the biggest Kremlin puppet, man. He looks like he's the biggest Kremlin plant. So what do, man? You know, because I start getting angry, but before I get too angry, I'm like, you know what? Let me check out the comments, because if the comments are, you gotta excuse me, I'm super emotional, man. So I thought to myself, if the comments are at least honest and they're actually letting people speak out, then I'll watch the rest of it. Then you know, Lex Fridman is actually doing his job. So I go down the comments, and what do you guys think? It's just bots. It's nothing but bots. How did I know that, man? Because look, pay attention, people, man. If the comments weren't controlled and this whole thing wasn't a setup, man, Ukrainian people from all around the world would rip a new one into his Zelensky Bunholio, man. Trust me, because Ukrainians are finally, the things that I talked about years ago, Ukrainians are finally waking up to it. And I want to say something else before I continue. And this video is going to be crazy because I'm going to actually, I don't usually do this, but I actually took notes this time. I'm going to show you what Lex should have been asking Zela, the cokehead. And what I know he didn't. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something else real quick, man. If I'm wrong in this video and Lex did ask him the things I'm about to show you, I will come back and apologize. How about that, man? But let me tell you something real quick, man. I already said this before. I'll say it again because I'm so pissed off now, man. Everyone that's not Slavic, even if you think you are coming from a position of knowing something, stop talking about this shit, man, because you don't know about what's going on in depth. If you're not Ukrainian, if you're not Russian, if you're not at least Slavic, I don't want to hear it from you, bro, because it's something that's going on within our family, right? It's a bloody brother war, a brother against a brother. And then we have all these other people talking about what's going on in our house. And what disgusted me the most with this Lex Fridman podcast, it's these two Jewish dudes talking about Ukraine. They have nothing to do with Ukraine. Two Jewish guys. And before everyone starts throwing me under the bus, you know, because you can only say one thing that you've been taught, anti-Semitic. Listen, all my Jewish, regular Joe Schmo brothers and sisters that are also dying in Israel right now, that are being thrown into that meat grinder, I'm not talking about them. I'm just making a point that two Jewish dudes, two Russian Jewish dudes, yes, both of them, are speaking about Ukraine. Zelensky got nothing to do with Ukraine, and Lex Fridman got nothing to do with that. Just to give you an example, have you ever seen, or can you ever imagine, two Slavic dudes, or a Slavic dude, any Slavic dude, right, that's not Jewish, becoming a president of Israel, right? Then going on a podcast to another Slavic dude and talking about what's going on in Israel, bro. That's what's going on here. I'm just trying to make a point before anybody says some anti-Semitic shit and this and that, because that's what you've been taught. But again, shout out to all my regular people, brothers and sisters, also, you know what I'm saying, going through it, man, in Israel right now. You know, to the regular folks. I'm talking about right now the psychopathic, higher, you know, all these psychopaths that start these conflicts, man. So again, we have two Jewish guys that have nothing to do with Ukraine, and it shows how Zelensky is treating my people, that he has nothing to do with Ukraine, and he's doing everything that would look like that he's doing everything what the Kremlin wants him to do. This is what this looks like, man. And if anybody says, oh, Putin apologist, another thing you guys been taught, man. Look, I'm gonna say this right here, right now. F that dude too, man. You know why? Because F every freaking world leader that sends off people to war, man. You know, and of course, historically, it looks like Russia had no choice. It really looks like that. I'm not talking, you know, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying F every single, because you know what it really looks like? It looks like that Zelensky is working for the Kremlin. Kremlin is working for UK and the West, bro. This is what this looks. And again, I have to also throw in this disclaimer. When I say the West, when I say Americans, when I say, you know, Russia or Ukraine, that's another thing we've been taught. I'm not talking about regular people, man. I'm American now. I was born and raised in Ukraine. I'm American now. I love the American people. My family's here. This country is beautiful nature-wise, man. They have some beautiful people here, man. My brothers and sisters are here. I love my American people. I'm talking about the psychopathic cabal, man, that has seized power and have been orchestrating all of these colored revolutions, all of these conflicts. And I told myself, man, I'm not gonna talk about this no more. But I am so hurt after seeing this whole freaking thing, especially when today this freaking psychopath that does not care about my people, does not care about the Ukrainian people, sends off, you know what I'm saying, a whole bunch of soldiers. I think there's like 30,000 or 50,000 or whatever, the last of the men, on another crazy meat grinder mission. I cannot say the SUI word over here, man, because that's what it looks like. And to anybody that thinks, oh, this Kursk operation now is you know, it's a surprise hit, are you freaking kidding me, man? Every single major media, you know, outlet and least major, like, independent media, everybody's been talking about it for days, that the Ukrainian army is getting ready to do that, because NATO deployed, you know, a large you know, weapons carrier, man, that came into Poland, and they are unloading. So what do you think is going on, man? They're basically, NATO is basically testing out some new weaponry, trying to see how Russia's gonna react. You think Russia didn't know about this? Russia is sitting there ready, bro. So pay attention. Once this whole thing is said and done, there are gonna be so many freaking casualties. All of these guys, all of these young guys are going there to die, man. And it's gonna be some sort of a Guinness Book of World Record for the most NATO weaponry destroyed. And again, I told myself, yo, you're not gonna talk about this, because I have a whole other channel in Russian and in Ukrainian, so I'm so invested into this. I'm actually talking to people, you know, on the ground, to soldiers from both sides, man. I'm talking to people that have, you know, been connected to the Zelensky administration, that know him personally, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm already invested. On this channel, whenever we talk about this subject is when I invite, you know, like, geopolitical experts and things like that to voice their opinion, man, while I told myself I'm not gonna do it on this channel no more. But this is so freaking mind-blowing, man. You know, it makes me so angry. And again, if I'm wrong about this, I will go back, I will watch it, and I will apologize. So let's go through the list. I never ever take, and I'm gonna actually show you some videos and everything like that, and show you some documents in this one, man. So let's go down a list of what Lex Fridman should have asked. And I know for a fact he didn't ask, because again, that's exactly why Zelensky didn't go to Joe Rogan. That's exactly why he would never go to Tucker Carlson, right? Because there are some crazy, super uncomfortable questions to anybody that's even thinking about debating me. I was born in the Soviet Union, raised in an independent Ukraine, grew up in New York, studied in the Vatican. You know what I'm saying? Been on the streets, was a fighter, is a hip hop artist. Now I have this media company, man, where I talk to people from all around the world. And just so you understand how crazy this is, 80% of all Ukrainians have family members in Russia and vice versa. And guess what? So do I. I have a cousin in Russia, bro, with kids and everything, trying to live a normal life. And he's right on the border. So let's go down the list. Today, I prepared, I'm going to show you some video evidences of how crazy this whole thing. I'm going to show you some documents, you know what I'm saying? And I took notes. I never take notes because I usually just, you know, I kick it with you guys. So let's go down to the list of what Lex Fridman didn't ask. And if he did, I will come back and apologize. Question number one, that what he should have asked Zelensky. Mr. Zelensky, after the Soviet Union broke up, right? And there's so much, you know, like if you think about it, some three drunk dudes get together and decide, oh, you know what, we're just gonna break this country. So if from the legal side this is ever investigated, we will find out that the Soviet Union never even broke up legally. But let's just look at it from normal history. And I remember when this happened, when the Soviet Union broke up. I'm from Western Ukraine, bro. My first language is Ukrainian. The super nationalistic side of Ukraine, that's where I'm from. So the number one question that he should have asked Zelensky, right? If the West, meaning the powers of the West, right, care about Ukraine so much in 1991 when the Soviet Union broke up, how come Mr. Europe and Mrs. America didn't come to a newly, baby Ukraine, didn't set up a democracy over there, didn't help out financially? How come instead we were robbed blind? Ukraine was robbed blind, Russia was robbed blind, and just so people understand, the initial new Ukrainian constitution and new Russian constitution was set up and written by who? By the Americans. I'm talking about this, American special agencies and everything, man. Spy age, whatever, man. The point is that it was based on the American, American people coming over there and again, I'm super emotional, coming over there and setting up the constitution both in Ukraine and in Russia. How come they didn't make sure at that time that Russia gets, that Russia becomes part of the West, joins NATO? Right? How come they were robbing Russia blind? They set up their puppet President Yeltsin. They loved when he was dancing around and saying God bless America. So if the West, if American political powers care about Ukraine so much, why was the 90s just hell over there, man? I remember the minimum wage was $30 a month, and guess what? People weren't getting paid. They were getting paid with toilet paper. You work for a month at a factory, you get paid with toilet paper. These are facts I'm talking about. So that's my first question. My second question is, everyone talks about the Budapest memorandum, right, that the West made Ukraine sign when they surrendered the nuclear weapons, right? To all you dummies out there, have you ever looked up the word memorandum? Go look up what the word memorandum means, because it's not a contract. It's an initiation of a contract, right? But were there contracts between Russia and Ukraine? Yes, there were. Where Russia promised to, protect Ukraine in case and this and that. So my second question is, didn't Russia ask for one thing? Two things, but one thing, in particular, that Ukraine has to stay neutral. That was also part of the agreement when Russia let Ukraine become independent from the Soviet Union. Because let's be honest, Soviet Union is Soviet Russia, and that's how it was known worldwide, and that's exactly what it was. Even though the largest communist party was actually in Soviet Ukraine, surprise, surprise. But that was a key point, that Ukraine needs to stay neutral. Did Ukraine stay neutral? Let me think. How about in 2003, where Ukraine hardly had any army, but somehow was able to, send 2,000 Ukrainian troops to invade Iraq, which we now know what that whole thing was about. Orchestrated, set up, man, right? So that right there showed you that how is that neutral, bro? And that shows you that the West has been, some people say, oh, the CIA and the MI6, set up the coup in Maidan in 2014. Yo, they've been there these whole 30 years. MI6 and CIA and everything, they've been there for 30 years. They've been there for longer, for the last 100 years. But we're talking about recent history, when Ukraine got independent. That's what Lex Fridman should have asked. How come Ukraine violated with the West pushing them to do this, man? Basically, letting them, well, listen, Ukraine for the last 30 years has been one of the most corrupt countries in the world. I'm from there, bro, right? So How come you didn't ask? How come you didn't ask him that in 2003, what were Ukrainian troops doing invading another country? In Maidan. Let's move over to, we're gonna skip the Orange Revolution. Even that was freaking crazy. I just remembered, right? A dude won by a democratic vote. And in the Ukrainian constitution, it says there are only 2 rounds of the elections, and they make a 3rd round because they needed a pro-Western guy, Yushchenko, which people hated. We as Ukrainians hated every single president that has been in there, man. So we're gonna skip that, man. In 2014, Lex Fridman, why didn't you ask Zelensky? How come the CIA and MI6 and all of these Western leaders, shadow Western leaders, how come they set up this coup? And if someone's gonna say, oh, they didn't set up this, so what was Victoria Nuland doing, investing $6 billion? They talked about it openly. What was John McCain doing on Maidan? Can you imagine Russian political leaders or Ukrainian political leaders coming to Washington on January 6th? Can you imagine that, bro? That's exactly what happened. So what they basically showed the whole world that Ukraine is a colony, is an American Western colony. Did you ask him that? Lex Fridman, did you ask him that? And then when someone says that somehow Russia, started the war in Donbass, I'm going to show you the first, and people say that, Russian army was there the whole time and everything like that. And look, I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to share a video right now from 2014, right? And we're going to know exactly who started this whole thing. 1 second. I'm gonna share right now because I'm doing this. Oh man, I'm doing this. Look, check this out, you guys. Look, I'm gonna show you this video right now, and I'm gonna show you exactly when this was shot. I'm gonna put the volume down. So check this out. This is Ukrainian troops going against civilians in 2014. And I'm about to show, look, you see civilians came out into the streets. They're stopping these tanks. I'm gonna put the volume a little bit. Look, they're stopping tanks with their hands. Where are the Russian troops? These are civilians, bro. And I'm gonna show you the date when this video was posted, even though the original video was removed, because the original was posted April 7th. Now look at this, man. Look at this. These are people of Donbass. This is Slavyansk, actually. Stopping tanks with their bare hands. They're asking them like, yo, what are you doing? And they called it a what? A anti-terrorist operation. Do you see any terrorists over there? These are civilians, bro. These are civilians. Lex Fridman, did you ask Zelensky about this? Did you show him this? Now check out, so you guys don't think that I'm bugging. Look at the date, man. April 16 to 2014. Right? Moving along. Because, there were, once the war started, a civil war started, and it escalated. There were 2 agreements implemented, and tried to be enforced by, OSCE, the mission to Ukraine, and Russia. They were the governing bodies overlooking that these agreements are fulfilled. And I'm going to show you exactly, if people think that this was in 2014, it was a war between Russia and Ukraine, I'm going to show you Minsk II, the Minsk II agreement. Watch this. And I'm going to show you exactly, it says it on the agreement right there, who the war was between. Let's see. Where is it at? Minsk II. Full text. Let's see. Let's share. Okay, so in the second point, to withdraw all heavy weapons by both parties to equal distances. Let me see. Let me check if I'm wait, no. Let me check if I'm sharing. I think I'm sharing. Boom, right there, right? And you guys can zoom in, right? So hold on. This is the okay. So troop withdraws, this and that, for the military units of individual areas of Donetsk and Lugansk regions of Ukraine. So look, for who was this agreement for? For the Ukrainian troops and for the military units of individual areas of Donetsk and Luhansk regions of Ukraine. So what does that tell you right there? That what? That Ukraine was fighting Ukraine. So this is a civil war. On top of that, in 2017, they had the exchange of troops, right? Guess what? Were there any Russian troops there? No, Ukrainian troops were exchanged for Ukrainian troops. So where are the Russians, man? Were there mercenaries from Russia? Of course, because everybody always keeps talking about Hirkin. Can you imagine one dude, bro? One dude they keep talking about. So one dude was fighting the whole, one Russian dude was fighting the whole Ukrainian army, bro? Is that what you're telling me? Yes, there were mercenaries from Russia, but there was mercenaries from Russia fighting on both sides of the line. There were mercenaries from Brazil and America and everywhere, and weapons were already supplied by who for the Ukrainian troops? By us, by America, of course. So we see right here that we talking about the freaking sick psychopaths that have been in power. We're pushing Russia's buttons towards this war, man. And if anybody's gonna say anything about Krim, right, Crimea, I'm gonna show you right now, man. I'm gonna show you something. If people love speaking about Crimea, I'm gonna show you something real quick, and then and then I'll tell you about it. Look, right now I am showing you a super duper Western propaganda and this is Vice News, bro. You cannot get more freaking Western propaganda than this. Check this out, man. This is Russian people after they realized that they have been Russian people. These are the people of Crimea, after they realized that they rejoined Crimea, man. Let me play this again. Check this out. This is Vice News. Look at this. Hold on. There's a commercial. Sorry about that. Check this out. These are people rejoicing. Look, fireworks are going off, bro. Fireworks are going off. I'm going to stop sharing right now. And to all you a-holes that dispute this, guess what? Crimea, as you call it, was always majority Russian, right? So of course they were happy to rejoice. Anyone that really truly loves Ukraine and loves the Slavic people, you should have rejoiced also, because guess what? If Russia didn't step in, the same situation that happened in Donbass would have happened in Crimea, and thousands of people would have died. And it's a super big question mark. How did Crimea even become part of Ukraine? Because in the Soviet Union constitution, it says clearly, if there's an autonomous republic within another republic, which is mind-blowing because Ukraine was never a federation. It was a republic that had another autonomous republic, the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. But it's said in the constitution, the autonomous republic has to have the referendum separately. They never let Crimeans have the referendum. They just snatched it up along with it in 1991. So of course these people were happy to rejoin Russia. Of course they voted on the referendum. Of course they are living peacefully. Of course this was not no freaking invasion or whatever. Again, I'm super emotional. I can't think right now. So Mr. Lex Fridman, why didn't you ask him about this, bro? Why didn't you ask him? Why didn't you ask him about May 2nd in Odessa? Let me show you something. And again, I picked specifically like the super pro-Western news outlets, man. Let me show again, because I could have showed you like Russian outlets, Ukrainian outlets, but Ukrainian outlets are full of lies. Look, May 2nd, and ask him about. Look, they're burning Ukrainian flags. You know why? Do you know why? Because the CIA doing what they love to do, and I'm gonna skip through this real quick. The CIA, doing what they love to do, they sent in these they were probably on drugs, like super far right dudes into Odessa. They purposely had a football game over there, a soccer game, we call it in America, right? And they freaking burnt people alive. Lex Fridman, did you ask Zelensky about that, man? And if some stupid people are gonna say, oh, but there was a fireman that like later went to Russia and all that, yo, you guys are bugging. This is Ukrainians burning Ukrainians, bro. And there was no the investigation is still ongoing. Did you ask him about this? Did you? And guess what, man? There were so many regions in 2014 in eastern Ukraine that wanted to separate from Ukraine, man. They wanted to separate because they voted for a president that was supposed to have been friends with both Europe and Russia, Yanukovych. Right? So there were protests in Odessa and in Kharkiv, and guess what? Far-right radical groups were thrown into those cities and were and shut the whole freaking thing down, man. But guess what region in 2014 had the first protest? Guess what regions, man? Western Ukraine, man. People were running into government buildings and burning them down and grabbing weapons and everything. How come tanks weren't sent into Western Ukraine? Why do you think? Why were tanks sent to the east, man? Because they were pushing Russia's buttons. These psychopaths in power, in the West, they needed this war, man. They needed this freaking war. I showed you the means too, right? So moving along, and before becoming president, what you should have asked Zelensky, Mr. Lex Fridman, is who is Kolomoisky? One of the most corrupted dudes in Ukraine. So you people understand, in Ukraine, in the constitution, it says you can only have one citizenship. That's Ukrainian citizenship. So this oligarch, Kolomoisky, had like 3 citizenships, right? Brings up, Zelensky. And I had a lady on the podcast that helped Zelensky get into the media, and then he imposed sanctions on her and her kids because she spoke out. A media person, man. She's not even into politics. I still have to translate those parts, man. I've been so busy. I'm gonna translate it. It's an amazing story. So Lex Fridman, did you ask Zelensky, the cokehead, about did you ask him about Kolomoisky? Did you also ask him that Yo, get this, people, if you don't know. Zelensky, so Kolomoisky set this whole thing up, right? Like he funded this whole project. Zelensky played a role because he's an actor, played a role called the servant of the people. Guess what? His party today is called the servant of the people, right? So guess how crazy this is. He plays a role of a president that wants to get into NATO, right? But look how crazy this is, man. They show in that TV series, they show that a war breaks out. I want that to sink in, man. They showed everything, bro. And check this out. The war breaks out. I'm going to show you this. This is straight from the show. And they show how Ukraine is going to be broken up into parts. Check this out, man. This is insane. Look at that. And these are like different, different republics that break up into Ukraine. In Ukraine. So before this scene, a war breaks out. Can you freaking imagine? This will be studied by all kinds of, sociological centers 100 years later of how they freaking brainwashed the people so much that they had a TV series. They showed what was going to happen. Then this dude gets into office and it's actually happening, bro. It's actually happening. So is he an agent or is he not an agent? So this a-hole becomes the president, right? We're moving on to 2022. Ukrainian troops, all of a sudden, Ukrainian army is building up around the Donbass area. So the Russian side also starts, pulling up troops. And the Russian side is asking the Ukrainian side, yo, relax, bro. Relax, man. So what does this dude Zelensky do when he's in Germany, man? He gets out in front of the European Council and he says, we're thinking about bringing nuclear weapons back into Ukraine. It's bad enough that in 2019, they implemented into the Ukrainian constitution that Ukraine wants to become part of NATO. Officially, they are on a path of NATO, which Russia said, no freaking way, please, because one of the biggest promises of the West was if the Soviet Union breaks up, NATO does not move inch towards the east. So they got up all the way to the freaking Polish border NATO, and now they want Ukraine. Russia's like, no, please. But whatever. We all know about this. Zelensky gets up in front of the European Council and says we want to bring back a nuclear weapon, right, to Ukraine. So what is he doing at this point? Is he taunting Russia at this point? Who told him to say that? And just to throw it in there, it was a crazy coincidence that for some reason Zelensky before becoming president, he flies to the UK, meets with the royal family, meets with the Rothschilds, right? His other upper echelons of the Jewish mafia, if you will. And just so you people understand, Zelensky is a Russian Jew, meaning he never ever spoke Ukrainian. That's why when he speaks Ukrainian now, he sounds like he's speaking with an Italian accent. You can see that he learned Ukrainian recently and he sucks at it, bro. Just like Lex Fridman. Lex Fridman came into America the same age I did. For some reason, I speak all these three languages with no freaking accent, but you do, bro. And you're like a computer scientist, and your parents are freaking, professors and all of that, man. But let me show you something more important than that. So there was an OSCE mission to Ukraine, a European mission to Ukraine, monitoring the civil war in Ukraine since 2014. Let me show you this. Let me share the screen and freaking show you this. What happened in 2022. Now, just so you understand, so the scene plays out in your head. The Russian troops are already on the border. 150,000 troops on the Ukrainian side are ready to attack Donbass, and Russia keeps asking Ukraine, chill, please chill. The war hasn't started yet, right? the special military operation has not started yet. Russia's still like, please, please, please. And just so you remember, if you think, you know, Putin is like some sort of a Hitler or whatever, man, Russia never legally acknowledged the Donbass People's Republic or the Luhansk People's Republic for all those years. They never legally acknowledged them, man. So check this out, though. This is very important. So when did Russia strike Ukraine? February 24th, right? So check this out right now. Look, this is right? I'm reading this in English. OSCE, Organization of Security Cooperation, era special monetary mission to Ukraine, summer in Donetsk region between the evening of 18th and 20th February. This is before February 24th, right? This is all, look, the year of 2022. In Donetsk region between the evenings of 18th and 20th February, the SMM recorded 2,158 ceasefire violations, 1,100 explosions. In the previous reporting period, it recorded 591 ceasefire violations in the region. In Luhansk region, between the evening of 18th and 20th February, the mission recorded 1,073 ceasefire violations, 926 explosions. Right? And this goes on and on and on. And if anybody's gonna freaking tell me, oh, but it's not specified if this is Russia or not, bro, pay attention. If this was Russia, that means that we would know that the special military operation and war, as we call it in the West, started in these dates, but it didn't. So where was that ceasefire coming from? I mean, ceasefire violation coming from? It was coming from the Ukrainian side, bro. Do you understand? Because I always keep saying this. The Ukrainian army has not been for the Ukrainian people for all these years, man. Their strings are pulled from, you know, from the West, from the higher ups, man. So all of these violations are freaking happening. Lex Fridman, did you ask him that? Why was, once again, the Ukrainian armed forces, well, the fake Ukrainian armed forces, bombarding Donbass if the Russian troops are already on the border, bro? Why were you doing that? Huh? Mr. Cokehead. And you know what I'm saying? And your Jewish buddy. Why didn't you ask him that, bro? Moving on to today's dates, man. Right? Oh, really quickly, let's talk about Bucha, because the whole freaking world, you know, talked about Bucha. The Russian troops enter into Bucha, what was it? March 1st, I think, right? They're there for a month, right? I talked to people privately from Bucha. They are telling me, yeah, they came into, you know, they set up their post and everything like that. We were talking to them. We were exchanging food and goods and all of this stuff. They were chilling here for a month. Now, if you guys remember, right? All of these on the news, they showed all of these all of this Russian like tanks and weaponry and everything destroyed, right, inside of Bucha. And all of these buildings in Bucha were destroyed, and all of these people were killed. So who was firing into Bucha, bro? They were there for a month, the Russians. Were they firing it themselves, right? Same thing in Mariupol, man. So Azov, right, the battalion of Azov was set up in Mariupol for all those years, and they are far-right radical Nazi group. They were even considered so by the American whatever. You know what I'm saying? Somebody in America considered, I can't think right now, I'm so freaking emotional. And back in 2018, they said that this is a far-right Nazi group. I'm gonna show you real quick, and you know, I want to ask Zelia, did you ask? I mean, Lex Fridman, did you ask Zelia about this? Did you ask Zelensky about this? Check this out, man. This is Azov, like when they were surrendered, right? I'm gonna put the volume down. Check this out. Look at their symbolism, bro. Check this out. What is that? What is that, bro? Because so if anybody gonna argue with me, oh, they had like Slavic, symbolism. Check this shit out. Is this Slavic symbolism? I have Slavic symbolism tattoos. I know exactly what they are. What are these, bro? They're not gonna show you this in the West. They're gonna freaking probably block this video, man. So they got the SS symbols, bro, right? These are the people that were in Mariupol supposedly guarding a very Russian city, man. And I talked to people in Mariupol. If you want, you could go watch Patrick Lancaster. He interviewed people, but you probably won't believe him, right? People were telling me that even the people that supported Ukraine were shocked that these Azov maniacs, they were setting up their artillery points, on top of buildings, on top of building roofs, man. So no wonder the city got so bombarded, man. Do you guys want to see Mariupol now? Check this out. Because for some reason, the city Bucha that got destroyed by the Ukrainian armed forces, it's not getting rebuilt. It's still in ruins. Check this out. I'm going to show you Mariupol today. Right? Check this out. Look. This is Mariupol today. This is people celebrating, bro, for the holidays. The city's not destroyed. Well, I mean, there are big parts of the city that are still destroyed that are being rebuilt. But look at that. Look at this. Lex Fridman, did you ask Zelensky about this? And if these people suffered from the hands, look, buildings and everything. If these people suffered from, look, new buildings, look at that, bro. And if these people suffered from the hands of the Russian invaders, why would they be staying there? But guess what? These have always been Russian-speaking people that were terrorized by this Azov battalion on all these far-right groups for all these years. Look, people are finally having fun, enjoying themselves. This is Mariupol now. Buildings are rebuilt, man. Schools are rebuilt. Look, people are having fun. I'm gonna show you another one. Look, check this out. I'm gonna show you another one. Like a supermarket. I want to see some shit like this in Ukraine, bro. Only in like Kiev and the city of Lviv, man. But the cities that were freaking destroyed by both sides, by the way, because Russia has no interest in freaking bombing cities. If they wanted to, they would bombard the whole freaking Ukraine in a few days. The whole story about Kiev in 3 days. That story was started in look. This is supermarkets. That whole story with the Kiev in 3 days. Every Ukrainian is talking about this. That whole thing was said by an American general because that's what everyone thought about in the West, because they were judging based on how America invades different countries like Iraq, man. What did they do first? They bombard the city for 2-3 days and then they roll in on tanks. Russia didn't do this, man. Did you ask Zelensky about this, bro? And you know what's even more crazy here? Right? Because obviously what I'm showing you right now is the people that have always felt Russian and were there pro-Ukrainian people, of course. So they left, right? When this whole thing went down. Guess what? Now we're hearing reports that people are coming from Europe and going back to Mariupol. So if that city is invaded, why is it so bad for them that they're going back to freaking Mariupol? Because guess what? Pensions are super low in Ukraine. Pensions are like $100 a month. The average pay, minimal wage is like $200 a month, right? 250 maybe, with European prices. Everything else like gas and everything like that, it has European prices, bro. Did you ask Mr. Lex Fridman, did you ask Zelensky about this? Now I'm gonna show you something crazy about what's going on now on Ukrainian streets, and this is Ukrainians posting this. And Lex Fridman, sir, did you ask Zelensky about this? Check this out, man. So TTSK is the units that go out and they are, snatching up people off the streets, man, going against the Constitution completely. It's become a concentration camp in Ukraine. My brothers are getting snatched up, bro. So check out what they do, man, right? They pull over this car. A dude and a lady is driving the car. They're trying to get this dude out of the car. Now, if anyone can't read, that says in Ukrainian, like, what is that? Look at what they do, right? They're trying to pull the dude out. Like, now imagine, bro, where, we're talking about Ukrainians fighting for democracy and everything. And this freaking Zelensky had the nerve to come on the podcast. And Lex Fridman had the nerve to be sunned by this dude. Look at what they're doing to my brothers and sisters. And this is going on every single day, right? So look, they're pressing the guy in the car. His wife is in the car, because I read into the story. Look, they're trying to break into the freaking thing. Keep watching what these maniacs sent by Zelensky are about to do, while Zelensky is pocketing billions in this money laundering schemes with the freaking Sleepy Joe and his whole dynasty of lunatics, man, that he got with him. Look, they're trying to break into this person's car, right? And I'm talking to people on ground. These TTSK dudes, they're pocketing billions. I mean, not billions, millions themselves. They're buying new flashy cars and everything, just like the Azov battalion, man. Look, they set the car on fire, bro. They try to set the freaking car on fire, bro. Lex Fridman, look, and some dude is laughing, bro. Laughing. Those people in the car were scared. The wife was scared, bro. I'm not even showing you an extended video. Lex Fridman, did you ask Zelensky about that? Did you ask Zelensky when Victoria Nuland admitted about the biolabs in Ukraine? Did you ask him about that, Mr. Lex Fridman? Right? Did you ask him, that with all the people running from war, guess what country had the largest numbers of Ukrainians go there? It's not Poland. It's not Czech Republic. Guess what it is? It's Russia. About 4 million Ukrainians went into Russia, bro. So while I did say in the beginning of the video, F the leader over there in Russia, right? Because I'm saying F every leader, because, they have to be psychopathics in order to, undergo these wars. But I understand, you have to understand, and I understand why Russian people, and mainly young Russian people, they're not stupid. They have traveled, they have the internet, everything. They vote for Putin because life in Russia is getting better and better and better, even under sanctions, bro, right? Under sanctions, they're able to have a good minimum wage. Everything is dirt cheap as far as gas and electric bill and cell phone bill and everything like that. Old people are able to have a pension. People are able to put some money away and travel. What happened to Ukraine? What's I'm gonna call the older people, man, retirees, they're dying hungry, bro. There's no electricity most of the time, because Zelensky goes on these mass media campaigns, like he's doing one in Kursk. By the way, I forgot to mention, do you know what I heard, that imagine while they're doing this publicity stunt in Kursk, Ukraine is losing more and more and more territories. But I heard this from Ukrainian soldiers from the ground, that before Russia captures a territory, they send out a helicopter with loudspeakers that talk to the soldiers down on the ground, asking them to surrender and promising them that they will not be, hurt, that they will go into captivity, but they won't be, KILLE. I probably can't say it, man. You understand? And if they don't have the loudspeaker, they throw out like these notes and everything. So that's the 2 points I want to make, that life in Russia actually got better. So who cares about who most? While Ukraine became a concentration camp, while religion, pravoslavia, a lot of people say orthodoxy. It's not orthodoxy. It's different than Greek orthodoxy. But anyway, let's just say orthodoxy. Is completely getting overthrown. They had a story recently that a Orthodox priest came out to his parish and asked them to convert to Judaism. I'll let that sink in for a second, because the president is Jewish. So maybe if the country converts to Judaism, is going to help him win the war. Menorahs are lit up everywhere, bro. Right? And this is not, again, you have to understand, this is not Israel. This is not America, that it's a melting pot. It's a very, very Slavic country. Look, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you that it's very easy. You just have to know how to search these things. So as far as Slavs, we're known to have the haplogroup of R1A, right? Look, I'm gonna show you something, and I'm gonna share something with you. Hold on, where is it? Right, and it's easy. You just go to Google, you look it up. Some for some reason this one is like very blurry. I'm gonna show you this one. So if you see like the territory of Ukraine, 40%. Right, so that means, and the number is actually bigger. 40% meaning Slavs. Of course, we have minority groups, Hungarians, Polish people, minority groups, Jewish, all kinds of, but those are very, very little. Majority wise, these are Slavic people, man. Right? The point I'm trying to make is because it's not this melting pot, man, because no one ever wanted to move over there. For some reason, the Western crazy psychopathic powers only wanted to conquer us, man. Why do you think you don't think Russia has a point into trying to defend itself and trying to defend the Slavic world, man? You don't think so? We've been attacked. You know what I'm saying? Ever since the Khazarians tried to come in the 6th century. I'm talking about, official history now. Then Napoleon, then Hitler, then it's always something, bro. So the point of this whole video, and I went super, 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 super long, is that it's an embarrassment that Lex Fridman, you are such a sucker, man. You had one of the biggest war criminals on in the 21st century that's torturing my people right now. 2 Jewish guys that have nothing to do with Ukraine, talking about Ukraine, and just lying through his freaking teeth. Because I bet, even without watching, again, if I'm wrong, I will come back and apologize. If Lex Fridman asked him all of these things that I showed you guys, right? Oh man, I'm losing my train of thought, man. Just disgusting, despicable. Oh, I bet you that all Zelensky did is what he always does. Russia, 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 Putin, Putin, Putin. That's what he's been trained to do, even though he looks like he's the biggest Kremlin agent, bro. The biggest. Because he's doing exactly like right now, he sent like 30, 50,000 of my brothers just to perish, bro. They're about to perish. Russia's ready for them, bro. This was just a publicity stunt, nothing else, right? And they're trying to do that before Trump's inauguration, man. This is about to be another Bakhmut, another Mariupol, another, you know what I'm saying? Just young men they're going to be destroyed. And from what I heard from the ground is that they're sending the most, like, not really straight in the head dudes that they knew they're going to go in there and perish, man, basically. You know what I'm saying? Crazy, man. Listen, I went for way too long. If I'm wrong, I'll come back and apologize. But Lex Fridman, F you, bro. Stop getting involved in our issues, bro. You know what I'm saying? Stop, bro. You're a Jewish kid, man. You know what I'm saying? That have nothing to do with the Slavs, bro. Stop, man. And if you were going to have him on, it would have been so awesome. But I've seen, as soon as I seen the comments and I seen bots in there, I was like, oh, man. Oh, man. I already know what this is. Anyway, this is good for thought. I went for way too long. I love all of you, man. You know what I'm saying? Huge shout out to Romaniya poet. Oh man, it's like 2 a.m. We're gonna have a super great light cast later with Dr. Coldwell, and then my boy David is coming with Alan, you know, talk about that crazy recording, man. I love all of you guys. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to my beautiful mom, man. Sophie TV is coming soon. She's, you know, super big on health, man. Shout out to the Romaniya poet, man. I love all of you, man. You know what I'm saying? This is just despicable. I'm gonna try not to talk about this no more. I told myself, I'm like, nah, leave this channel out of this, man, unless, you know, again, we have like geopolitical experts on it, whatever. And I'm gonna show you that freaking video where Snezhana Yegorova, the lady, that she was the biggest media personality in Ukraine, the one that helped Zelensky get into media. She's gonna go for an hour into details of what kind of person is Zelensky. I just, you know, I have to translate it, man. I love all of you, man. Uno.